Oh, hi there. Welcome to this, pointing in the wrong direction, but the 7-day personality transplant system shock for realness and life purpose. This video that you are watching right now is just an introductory video. It's going to explain what the course is all about, what you can expect, why you should do it, some of the benefits, and give you an introduction basically so you know whether or not you want to move forward and do the whole thing. I'm not going to take up too much of your time today because the course itself covers a lot of information. It's going to be a commitment of your time actually, and you don't want to waste too much time here. You just want to get right into it, I would assume. Let me just bring this up properly on my computer. Right, so I'm literally just going to race through this thing. It's going to give you an intro, and by the end of this short video, you're going to know whether or not this is the course for you. Introduction: 7-day personality transplant system shock for realness and life purpose. That is a long ass title, and I'm probably just going to refer to this as the personality transplant hereafter. The reason it's called a system shock is because I want to give you a lot of information that gives you a lot of insight. It wakes you up, it makes you ask questions, test your assumptions about yourself, the world and reality, and hopefully allow you to break free of the self-limiting patterns, the self-limiting beliefs, etc., that are holding you back from your realness, which is your authentic version of yourself, and your life purpose, which is doing something with that realness that you've uncovered. It's a 7-day video course. It's going to give you help to see where you're holding yourself back and give you practical strategies for dealing with that issue, that problem. Practical strategies means it's going to give you tools and insight that is going to allow you to take action. This course is ultimately about taking the right kind of actions and making choices that will lead you to figuring out what they are. This time next week, if you do the course, you'll have a better understanding of who you are, what you're capable of, and more importantly, you're going to be doing it. To drill that point home, this is a course about action. If you just watch the videos, or you just read the materials and exercises that go along with the videos, but you don't act on what you learn, then you're just wasting your time. And so from the very outset, you need to get that idea in your head. This is about taking action. If you're committed to doing actions, taking actions, then this course will make a big difference in your life, hopefully. You'll also have a better idea of where you're heading in life if you do this course. It's all building up to the 7th day, the 7th exercise, which is basically about creating a structure in your life that you can use to move in the direction that you want to move in life. We're going to be looking at how you use your time, energy, and attention, how you can dedicate those things to your values and building something real, and then moving forward beyond the context of the course. Who is this course for? This course is ultimately about uncovering and learning to work with patterns and laws or rules about life that apply to us all. No matter who you are, no matter how old you are, no matter what you've been through, there are certain things about being a human being that apply to every single one of us. And this course is about looking at those similarities so that we can also take the differences that exist between us as individuals and do something with them. But you need to understand the structure of what it means to be a human being, which involves basically understanding things like you're going to be dead one day, change is a constant in life, etc. Understanding those kind of things and working with them so that you can get results from life. You're not just wasting your time. More specifically, this course is for anybody who's feeling a little bit stuck in life. If you're feeling stuck and you need clarity, then you need to start taking action. But it needs to be the right kind of action, because action always leads to clarity. Even if you don't get the results that you want, you're going to learn something from taking those actions. And so by getting into an active mindset and moving forward with your life, you're going to feel a lot less stuck. You're going to start building momentum, and you're going to see a clear path forward, which is basically what we all want from life. We're going to be looking at why you might have got stuck in the first place, what that looks like, how it shows up in your life, and what you can do about it. Ultimately, that's about looking at your belief system and how your beliefs are either real or unreal. Real meaning that they're allowing you to move forward, they're allowing you to express who you truly are. Unreal meaning that they're holding you back and that you've picked up some bullshit or conditioning from the outside world that's causing you to hesitate. This course is also for anybody that wants to change direction and feels like life isn't as exciting as it could be, that it should offer more. It's for people that want to start shifting into doing something that's meaningful, that they feel is worthwhile. If you're out there, you're living your life, you're just going through the motions, maybe it's even good on the surface level. You know, you've got a nice job, you've got a nice car, you've got a nice relationship, whatever it is. You might have all of these external things, but internally you have a sense that there's just more to life, that you need to do something that is more purposeful, more meaningful, that is more aligned with who you are. This course is going to help you to get on the path to understanding what you can do about that problem, which basically involves uncovering your true values. So for me, my values are things like creativity, truth, freedom, blah, blah, blah. Uncovering your true values, your true intentions, i.e. your true goals, your true thoughts, your true feelings, uncovering the truth about who you are basically, and then doing something with it. That's the solution to this problem that a lot of people have of being restless, of wanting more. It's for anybody that wants to take positive steps forward in life. The most positive thing you can do isn't going outside and staring at crystals and dancing around beneath the moon or whatever it is that people do these days. It's about uncovering reality, because reality, believe it or not, despite what you've been told, is the most positive of all things. If you want something to work out, you need reality as a foundation. And that is why this course is about realness. It's about accepting reality, building with it. That's the most positive thing you can do. So there's no bullshit, just reality. It's for anybody who feels they are confused and they've become disconnected from their personal needs, values, and intentions. So like I said, it's about connecting to what you truly need. You're getting to a place where you can make real choices about your life based on who you really are, and then moving forward with that. It's very simple, but it's very effective. It's for anybody who's lacking motivation, whose self-esteem isn't as high as it could be. If you're one of these people that's running around like a headless chicken, always seeking motivation, well, it usually means, in my experience, working with coaching clients and even in my own life, it means that you are trying to force yourself to do something that's not real. And actually, you don't need to be motivated. You need to find the real stuff that you actually give a crap about, and then be disciplined in your approach to going out there and chasing it or making it materialize. If you do that, it's going to make you feel good about yourself. You're going to get evidence that you can get results. You're going to move forward, build momentum. That's going to pump you up. And so it helps with the issues of self-esteem. It's for anybody that wants to bring more creativity and confidence into their lives. Like I've just said, you start moving forward, you start taking actions that are real to you and getting results. Of course, that's going to increase your confidence. One way that people can do this is to tap back into their creativity. Because if you find some creative project or some creative purpose for yourself, then you can't help but become more real, because all of us are creative when we're real. And actually, we've been conditioned to forget that in many cases. And so as you tune back into that and you do something with it, boom, confidence increases, realness increases, life gets better. Is there anybody who's tired of bullshit advice and wants practical strategies they can use to improve their health, wealth, and relationships? I'll go over that a bit more in this introductory video. But for now, I just want to say there's loads of bullshit out there about how to improve your life. And a lot of the stuff that people are selling to people is just about short-term solutions, is tapping in to their desires and their ego rather than their needs and what's real about them. And it's basically selling them magic bullets or panaceas that are just marketing gimmicks, basically. This course isn't about any of that bullshit. It's about looking at how life actually works and giving you a practical way forward so you can get where you want to be. That doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It's going to involve a lot of hard work, actually. You're going to have to do inner work, looking at your own stuff, emotional stuff, self-limiting beliefs, maybe changing your belief system completely, depending on where the rabbit hole takes you. It's going to involve actually going out in the world and taking actions and getting out of your comfort zone. That's not for everybody, which is why not everybody gets where they want to be in life. So if you're expecting some bullshit thing that just sounds nice, this course isn't for you. If you want to actually know how you can get results from life and move forward, then keep watching this video and then sign up for the whole thing when you get to the end of it. Is there anybody who feels like they're wasting their lives and wants to make the most of their potential before it's too late? A lot of people, they just follow whatever path they've been told to follow in life. They don't really think for themselves, or if they do think for themselves, they don't act on that because they're scared of what the world will think. And then decades pass, whatever it is, and they realize that, wow, okay, I'm actually not living my potential. I'm not who I could be. I'm not getting where I know I could be in life if I actually acted on the real stuff. And what this course is going to tell you basically is that it's not too late, unless you're literally on your deathbed and you want to go climb Mount Everest or something. It's not too late to start moving towards your potential. It's for anybody who wants to understand themselves more, what life is all about. Okay, that's a good thing to do, because if you understand life, you can work with it better. And it's for anybody who wants more balance. Most of my coaching, when I'm coaching people, working with them, is about helping people understand what's real so they can make better choices. It's all about the choices that we make. And if you make choices that are real to you, instead of wasting your time on just all of the bullshit and distractions that the world has to offer us these days, then you're going to live a more balanced life, because you're going to be choosing things that are more real. And ultimately, as you go through this process in this course, you understand who you are, what you're all about, you accept yourself, you start taking action, you're going to bring more balance, because you're saying yes to the real stuff, no to the unreal stuff. In short then, this course is for you. Most people on the planet, because we're dealing with just human nature, the patterns that apply to us all, the similarities between us, etc., can benefit from this course. And so if you've got time and you're committed to improving your life, this course is for you. And I look forward to basically going through it with you. What to expect? Okay. So each day, over the 7 days of this course, you're going to get video content linked to a specific area of personal development, practical philosophy and psychology in relation to the human condition. This is a multidisciplinary approach, which sounds really pretentious. It just means we're cherry picking all kinds of things that help us to understand the human condition, putting them into a framework, and then moving forward with that. The videos are going to contain a lot of information. Even this video, which is just the introduction, I've already bombarded you with all kinds of info. So I would recommend getting a dedicated notebook so you can write notes as you go through these videos that are going to follow, and also so that you can do the practical exercises that follow each video. Each day of the training, like I literally just said, has a number of exercises for you to do so you can retain the information and solidify your learning. Don't move on to the next day's video until you've done the exercises that accompany the day's video that you've just done. The exercises are quite in depth. There's a lot of stuff that you'll learn about yourself as you do them. And if you do it, you will get results. But of course, you have to sit down and spend the time to do it. Why have I called this a personality transplant? Okay, this course is about examining where your personality/ego came from, and how you can change your self-image so you can get the results that you want from life. The short version here in this introductory video is that because of the things you've been through in life and the emotional stuff you've got going on beneath the surface, you, like everybody else, have created a little box to live in, which is your self-image. And if you're not getting the results you want from life, then your self-image is holding you back. And because of that, you need to deconstruct it and then reconstruct it in a way that's more real, that allows you to thrive instead of just surviving. And actually, the self-image that we're deconstructing, the ego, came about to help you survive whatever you've been through. But now that that's done and dusted, you need to let go of the bad stuff that's holding you back, keep the good stuff, and replace the bad stuff with all of the parts of yourself that you may have disowned, like your creativity, your spontaneity, whatever it is, and bringing that back into the picture so you can move forward. So, as it says here, a personality transplant is the name we're using for going through the process of deconstructing your self-image, ensuring that it's replaced with one that will allow you to thrive. So we're not just surviving anymore, we're moving into the thrival thing. That's that. Our basic premise is that if your self-image is aligned with reality, then it's going to allow you to get what you want from life. You're going to be happier, you're going to have less friction, less anxiety, less depression, because you don't have these ideas in your head that are holding you back. If you've got these unreal ideas telling you that your potential is non-existent, or that you're, incapable, or whatever self-limiting beliefs that you've picked up along the way that led you right here, then those beliefs, those unreal beliefs, are just going to cause friction between you and life. That friction, the more you cling to the idea, the self-image, is going to eventually turn to frustration. That's why there's so many frustrated people in the world. And the more you cling to the frustration without changing anything, going through the personality transplant or personal revolution, whatever you want to call it, then you're going to become depressed. And so the best thing you can do for your mental health, actually, is to start growing real. That's why it's so important. We're basically talking in this course about developing an attitude of realness, an attitude that allows us to flow and to move and to grow with reality. The reality of ourselves, the reality of the world, and the reality of reality itself. Some core beliefs that we're going to start adapting as we go through this course are that real always works. This is super important. You need to accept that reality is always the way to go, and that real always works. If you don't know what to do, try being real. It will usually get you the results that you want. That's the kind of thing we're going to explore, but you need to start thinking about that right now, because probably that might not make as much sense as it will at the end of the course. Give me something real, or GTFO. That's basically about handling our relationships with other people. We want to get to the place where the majority of the relationships in our lives that we've chosen are real. Obviously, some relationships in your life you don't choose. They may be unreal to some extent, i.e. not authentic. But in general, we want the real relationships, and the others can GTFO, because we're focusing on being real. Everything always works out for the best, even if we can't see it. That's another core belief we need to accept. Because if we don't accept that things are just working out the best that they possibly could, then we're just creating friction between ourselves and reality. And the only thing you can do with reality is accept it. And so if you're not accepting, then you're causing problems for yourself. You need to accept so you can build and change and move forward. Course benefits. This course, because it deals with being real, being authentic, has a lot of benefits for all of us, actually. This philosophy that we're talking about will allow you to live a better life. It's designed to help you look at yourself, the world, and reality, to grow more real. Authentic, self-actualized, true. Real always works. Basically, if your life feels real, you feel energized, you've got more optimism, you feel like you're moving forward, you're building momentum, you feel fully alive, because basically you've developed a process of moving forward, and as you do move forward, you take action, that just makes you feel amazing. You can have an understanding of your true self. So self-awareness is very important. As Abraham Maslow said, one of the rarest things in the world is that people don't know what they want, is knowing what we want, sorry. And so if you know what you want and you turn that into a purpose, you're going to feel very confident, you're going to feel very happy, and you're going to feel like life is really meaningful and worth living, because meaning comes from purpose. You're going to have a solid action plan for how you can express your realness in the world to improve your well-being, improve your relationships, and increase the value you offer to the world. So as we become more real, we have more to offer the world, and that makes the world more real around us. And of course, that just allows us to have deeper relationships, to be more connected to other people in the world, to be more valuable actually as a person, because we're more authentic, we've got more to give. You can have a better grasp of reality and the way that things work in general. This means you have less illusions holding you back, and will be free to build the life you actually want. A lot of people, when they're not real, they believe things that they want to believe so they can keep being unreal. And the main reason that they do that is because they have unresolved shame, guilt, and trauma, which causes them to hide in this ego self-image thing that we were just talking about. When you start growing real, you'll have less illusions holding you back. And so again, you'll have less friction, less frustration, less misery in your life. Short version, being real is going to increase or improve your life in these three areas: health, wealth, relationships. That might sound a bit much, but the short version is that if you're more real, you're more authentic, then of course, because there's less friction, frustration, and misery, your mental health is improved almost immediately. You're going to have more energy. If you've got more energy, you can look after yourself. You can have more self-respect. You'll probably be ideally eating better food, looking after yourself more, being more optimistic, yada, yada, yada. Studies have shown that basically if you're more optimistic, you're going to live longer. If you've got a purpose, you live longer. A lot of people retire, they drop dead because they don't have a purpose anymore. So being purposeful and being real is good for your health. Relationships. If you're real with yourself, you can be more real with other people. If you're not holding yourself back, you can be more spontaneous with other people. And so you're going to be more open, you're going to be more honest, it's going to improve your relationships. Wealth. Well, if you've got a sense of purpose and you know your value or the value you can offer to the world, then you're going to be more likely to get well paid in your career. You're going to have less limiting beliefs around money itself because you're not going to be blocked. You know that potential is possible. You know that life is possible. You know you can get results and you can do what you need to do. And so the short version is that health, wealth, and relationships all ultimately come back to being real, being authentic. Who am I? Okay, yeah. Maybe I should have said that earlier in the video, or said this earlier in the video. If you don't know, my name's Ollie Anderson. I'm a life coach and business coach, actually, from Bradford in the UK. Well, that's where I'm currently based. Was born in London, moved around a lot. But anyway, I'm a life and business coach, sometimes call myself a creative performance coach. I work in three main areas. One, coaching for realness. That's the life coaching thing. That's ultimately what this course is about. Helping people to be more authentic, work through some of their mental blocks and stuff, and to start moving forward with a life that is actually real to them and that they care about because it's meaningful. The second thing I do is I work with creatives on their creative projects. I've got a project called truthbomb, truthbomb.co.uk, which is about increasing your status through creativity. What that means is basically you take your creative project and you turn it into something where you can basically make a living from it. You can increase your status in whatever industry you're working in because you're putting yourself out there within a specific niche that makes you an expert. That's the short version. Third thing, I work with a lot of business leaders, I suppose, or CEOs to help them maintain their sanity. A lot of the people at the top are going a bit nuts because, as the old saying says, it's lonely at the top, and they need someone to bounce ideas back and forth with to help them find their own edge, find meaning, blah, blah, blah. In all three cases, it comes back to the same thing, which has been real and doing something with that realness. I'm an author. I've written a number of books. My first book was a novel, Synchronesia, a depressing existential novel. I've written two other books since then. Personal Revolution is a short course in realness, which is about this stuff, been real. And then Shadow Life, freedom from bullshit in an unreal world. Personal Revolution is a short course in realness, basically deconstructs all the ego stuff. Shadow Life is basically the next level where we're looking at the relationship between the ego and the shadow. And we'll talk about that more in this course. Don't want to go on about it too much now. This course is basically a combination of those two books and the stuff that I've learned from coaching people around these issues, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. I made this course basically because I think this information applies to everyone, like I keep saying. It's life-changing if you act on it. It's helped me. It's helped other people that I've worked with. And basically, I want it to be out there because it can save you a lot of time, actually. You know, you don't have to read a million different self-help books. It's all quite simple when you understand it, but putting in a framework like this just makes it more accessible to people. You can find me on the internet in all these different places. Yeah, okay, cool. Pause that if you want to see it. This is a donation-based course. So basically what that means is that if you find it valuable and you can't afford it or something, then it's free. Basically, you pay what you think it's worth. I'm not going to talk about that really again after this little slide until the end of the course. But if you do make it through the 7 days and you do all the exercises and you get some value from it, then please donate so I can keep making other courses. I want to make a course after this about the truth bomb thing. So basically taking a creative project and turning it into a brand or business that gets you where you need to be. The reason I've chosen this model, the donation-based model, is because it makes it accessible to everybody, like I've said. So if you are, you're a billionaire, well, okay, no problem, you can watch it. If you don't have much money, you can still get access to this information, start improving your life and getting where you need to be. But I also believe, that if something is offering value, then you should pay something for it. And that's actually, how I try and live my life. And so if you do get to the end and you've had some value, you've got some results, then please donate. So I won't say anything about that now. until the last module. Fundamentals. So here's some fundamentals of this course that you need to know as you go through it, but also I suppose to mentally prepare you so you can figure out if you actually want to do the course. Course structure, like I said, 7 days of video lessons with 7 days of exercises. Do all of the exercises after you've watched the videos and you will benefit from the course. Like, that's just a fact. You do the exercises, which are downloadable PDFs. They cover quite a lot of detail. Then you're going to get a lot of insight about yourself, and you're going to understand who you are, what you're all about, and what you want to be doing. And it's going to show you some of your blind spots. If you do those things, you spend time with it, you commit to it, you'll get results. The course keeps building on itself until you know where you are, who you are, so your true intentions, true values, true philosophy of life, etc. Where you're going, so your vision for your future, and what's holding you back. And when you understand what's holding you back, you can start doing something about it. We're going to walk through a process of awareness, acceptance, action, which I'll talk about in a few slides. But ultimately, it's about looking at where you are now, where you want to be, and how you're going to get there. This time next week, if you do a module every day, you're going to feel more optimistic, more confident, and you're going to be more energized if you stick to it and do the work. And the reason I can say that so confidently is because once you start unblocking yourself and managing your beliefs and taking action and moving forward, that charges you up. And there's also the release. A lot of these beliefs that you might be carrying right now that are holding you back, making you hesitate, stopping you from getting where you need to be, they're weighing you down. And once you start dealing with that shit, it's like you've been released. Tension and release. That's just the way life works, I guess. But when you release yourself, it's energizing and you will feel optimistic because the energy is infectious. 7 days, 7 modules. These are the things that we're going to talk about and give you an abridged version right now so you can decide whether or not you want to do the whole thing. First day, we're talking about death. I like talking about death because we all agree that it's going to happen. There's so much bullshit out there, like I said, and people will find all kinds of convoluted and interesting creative ways to argue about just about anything. But it doesn't matter what your religious view is, what your philosophical view is, what your star sign is, how big your belly button is, how many toes you got, whatever. No matter who you are, we all know and respect the fact being the key word, that death is coming. And because this course is about reality and not bullshit, we're starting with death so that everything that follows is built on a premise that we know is the truth. And so in this first module, we're looking at the fact that we're going to be dead one day. That basically means that our time, energy, and attention are the most important things we have, and that we need to make choices, because it's all about choice, like I said earlier. We need to make choices about how to live a real life. The second day is about getting into an active mindset. So we're going to be looking at how our mindset stops us from taking the actions that we know we need to take. After that, day 3, we're looking at flux. So there is a natural law of life, which is about working with change. If we're going to be dead one day, then that means everything is changing around us. We're moving towards death. And so working with reality means working with change. Process is therefore, we're going to take the information we've had in the 3 days prior, and we're going to start looking at this process of growing real. Growing real means moving towards self-actualization, authenticity, realness. And the process basically means working with the past, embracing the present, and moving towards the future in a real way, where we're working with the law of flux, we're taking the right actions, and we know that we've got to make choices about our true values, true intentions, blah, blah, blah. And so if you understand that process of growing real, you can dedicate yourself to it, and you can move forward in life in the way that you want to. Day 5, we talk about the edge. As you start moving forward with this process of growing real and getting wherever it is that you want to be, whatever authentic life you envisage for yourself, you're going to have to ride through uncertainty. And if you have unresolved emotional stuff, like shame, guilt, and trauma, like I keep saying, then uncertainty is going to trigger a lot of stuff for you. And so this 5th day is about riding through that uncertainty embracing or readying ourselves for the emotional stuff that may arise, and knowing that if we can find this place called the edge where our ideas about ourselves meet reality, then we're going to find amazing opportunities for growth, and we're going to basically get results that we would never have thought possible initially. But it means getting to a place where we can basically ride through that uncertainty and manage our emotional stuff. Day 6, we're going to talk about wholeness. Wholeness ultimately is what this is all about. Human beings have a natural drive towards being whole. That just means connected to ourselves, accepting ourselves unconditionally, being connected to the world, other people in it, being connected on a higher level, like a spiritual level, to life itself, to the universe, not in a necessarily mystical way, but just feeling a deep connection to life. And if you understand the concept of wholeness, instead of like all the fragmented ideas that you've picked up about yourself as you created this little self-image / box to live in, if you understand that, then you can embrace wholeness and move towards it and become more real, more integrated in yourself. Accepting the parts of yourself you've disowned, seeing how your ego limits you and causes you to be fragmented, seeing how your belief system may disconnect you from the world, blah, blah, blah. Wholeness is super important. We're going to move towards that. And then finally, on day 7, we're going to bring it all together and put a vision together, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to put a vision together basically for your life and for moving forward in the way that you want to, so that by the time you finish the exercise at the end of day 7, you'll have a solid understanding of how you want to use your time, energy, and attention, what you really value, who you really are, what's holding you back, what you're going to do about it, and where you're going to go. We're going to put a structure in place that gives you a sense of purpose so that life becomes more meaningful and that it's actually something real. You're not just running around like a headless chicken, taking actions for the sake of it. This is the kind of stuff we're going to cover. Loads of stuff. These are just some examples. I've put it in this fancy triangle, as you can see. Don't know why. But anyway, ego stuff, okay, values, yep, shadow, all the disowned parts of yourself, good and bad, that you need to get in touch with again so you can be whole. The attitude stuff, the purpose stuff, goal setting, mindfulness. It's all about being mindful in a way, being present. You can't find reality without being present. That helps with the awareness stuff, which is the starting point of all this. Going to talk about that in a minute. Negative thinking, self-limiting beliefs, the beliefs that hold you back, reality versus unreality. How do we know what's the difference between the two? An abundance mindset, knowing that we have so many more opportunities than we may have been conditioned to think. Outcome independence, not letting what happens in our life define how we feel about ourselves. When you're real, you're always real. And if you can understand that and you get out of your head, you'll feel amazing, you'll keep moving forward, you'll be unshakable. Rewiring social programming and conditioning. So understanding that a lot of this stuff that comes from the outside in is not who we are. And if we take it on board as part of our ego, the self-image, the box that we live in, it's going to screw us up. Managing outdated biological wiring and instincts. Part of growing real is mastering our bodies as much as we can so that we don't just give in to every instinct, that we don't live in the short term and basically screw our lives up by giving into impulse and things like that. So anyway, we're going to cover all that kind of stuff. That's just a little taste, so you know if this is your thing. Ultimately, this course is about this, closing the gap. All that means is looking at where you are now, which is perhaps not as real as you want to be, looking at what your real life is going to involve and who you're going to become to get there, and then taking steps to close the gap. Right now you're here, you want to be here, what do you have to do to close the gap, to get across that chasm? The fancy metaphor I've used here is that on the unreal side of the gap, we're like a stick man. On the other side, we're like more fully formed, and the picture becomes clearer because we've got that clarity and we've done something with it. Main lessons, I won't spend ages on this slide, but basically to just drill the point home, this course is about how real always works. Even if it's hard, if you resist reality, you're just screwing your life up, you're going to have a bad time. The easiest thing to do, or the best thing to do, is to move with reality, but also not just to accept it in a passive way, to mold it as much as we can to be the life that we want it to be, so we can become the person we know we can become. What's real is always real. You don't have to worry about the other stuff. This course is about unlearning, actually. We're not just learning new things, new information for the sake of it. We're testing our assumptions about ourselves, the world, and reality, and we're removing all of the debris that we've picked up over the years that's stopping us from being real. It's a process of unlearning. You already know enough to do what you need to do with your life. And you might have just forgotten that, especially if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling restless or any of those things that we talked about already. Unlearning the bullshit is the way out of that. Your relationship with yourself is primary. So it's about getting a healthy relationship with yourself so you accept yourself unconditionally, and then you can do something with that. And if you accept yourself unconditionally, your relationship with the world becomes a lot better too, because you don't have all this stuff you're projecting out. You don't have dysfunctional relationships because you're not trying to like get things from people. You've just been real. And if you're real with yourself, you're real with other people. It is what it is, and you either accept it or you don't. A lot of this stuff that we're going to talk about when it comes to reality is about just accepting the things that can't be changed. So many people screw their lives up by trying to make reality something other than what it is because of their feelings. But reality doesn't give a shit about your feelings. Reality is just reality. Take the example I've already given, that we're going to be dead one day. There's no point worrying about that. You can't do anything about it. All you can do is accept it and work with it. That's how it is with reality. And if you understand that, you're going to save a lot of mental energy. You're not going to waste time, and your creativity and your potential to move forward is going to increase exponentially because you're not holding yourself back with illusions. You're constantly on a journey towards wholeness, and you screw your life up by blocking the process. So as I've already said, a lot of this is about becoming more whole within ourselves, more connected to ourselves, more connected to life, etc. That is a natural drive that we all have. We all are constantly moving towards wholeness and homeostasis within ourselves, no matter what. But the problem is, we block it with our thoughts because we think we know better than life. That's ego. And if you understand that, you can get out of your own way and you can let life take you where you need to go, whilst also directing it in a way that's real, because you've chosen to move with life, not against it. That might sound a bit weird right now, but as we go through the course, it's going to make sense. As we go through this course, we're basically walking through this process: awareness, acceptance, and action. This is something that I walk my coaching clients through, and it's something that applies to all of us, no matter who we are. It's one of those patterns, universal human patterns. It applies to all of us as we're trying to close the gap between where we are now, where we want to be. I'll give you a brief overview of each stage. We need all three. Awareness just means gaining insight of anything that's going to expose that gap between ourselves and reality or the truth. So, for example, it means increasing your self-awareness. It means understanding your true intentions, your true values, who you are, what you've been through, how you ended up where you are right now, all these different things. Awareness is about being in the present moment, so you're not in your head, just running around on the hamster wheel in the same old circles you always run around in. Awareness is the first step. Some practical stuff that you can do to increase your awareness: asking the right questions, being present, testing our thoughts, values, and beliefs, seeing how we're blocking our view. If you don't do the awareness stuff, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to keep getting the same old thing you've already got. And so awareness, asking the right questions, basically, is always the first step. Once you become aware of stuff, you might need to accept some things. And basically, that's what this second stage is about. Removing your judgment of whatever it is that caused you to choose the gap between yourself and reality in the first place. We choose the life that we have because of how much we're ready to let in because of our shadow stuff, basically. The parts of our emotional undercurrent, our inner emotional landscape that's causing us to judge reality. And if you become aware of certain things, then some of them may be initially uncomfortable. You might be aware of true intentions you have. You might want to leave your partner, might want to quit your job, you might want to go climb a mountain or do something that's dangerous. Whatever it is, you become aware of things, And if you don't accept them, you're just going to keep adding friction and causing frustration. So anyway, practical stuff that you can do for the awareness part of the process. Looking at the ego versus the shadow. So why is the personality that you've constructed in the form that it is to keep certain parts of yourself at bay? Why did that happen? You need to accept it. And what are those parts? Maybe you'll find, I don't know, some fear inside yourself or something. You need to accept that fear before you can work with it. And that's why it's so important. It's not about judging it, it's about accepting it. Those two things are opposite to each other. Understanding why you want to believe certain illusions. Why do you want to believe the stuff that you have now become aware is holding you back? You have chosen to believe it. So you need to be accepting of whatever the underlying cause is. Because only when you accept it, and it's normally shame, guilt, and trauma, can you let it dissolve. Unblocking our emotional stuff. Okay. Looking at the way we think and how it reflects a lack of self-acceptance. Basically, the acceptance stuff is about basically finding out what's going on inside you, accepting it no matter what, and then allowing something to be done with it that is aligned with your true values and true intentions. Action. Most important stage, really, but there's no point doing the action stuff until you've raised awareness and accepted what needs accepting. Otherwise, as I'll talk about in a slide or two, you're just a human doing. You're not putting your being into your doing. Practical stuff, creating a vision based on what we've learned about ourselves, the world, and reality, setting concrete goals, sorting out our habits, understanding our values, and translating them into goals and behaviors. Basically, doing whatever it takes to close the gap between where you are, where you want to be, by unblocking yourself and taking action. This is an action-based course. To say that for the millionth time, if you're not taking action, you're not going to change anything in a real way. You need all three. This is why this is so important. Awareness, acceptance, and action are kind of a circular thing. Like, you might take action, then you can get more awareness, there'll be something else to accept. It keeps going. But if you only focus on one, then you run into various problems. If you only develop awareness, you become self-obsessed. Nothing will ever change. And the gap between you and reality will just get wider. You need enough awareness, not total awareness. So a lot of people, they just keep trying to increase awareness, focusing on every problem they've ever had in their life, diving into their emotions, gazing at their belly button. And they can spend their whole lives doing that because they think that their problems and the things that they're becoming aware of are the most interesting thing in the world. But you don't need complete awareness. You need enough awareness to move forward. So if you become too obsessed with that, you become obsessed with yourself and you won't get anywhere. If you only work on acceptance, you become passive. As Carl Jung said, life isn't something that happens to me, it's something that I make happen. But if you only cultivate acceptance, you just accept every bad thing that happens to you in a weak-willed and passive way, and you don't do anything about it. Acceptance doesn't mean that you stop moving. Acceptance means that you accept what obstacles arise on the way to wherever you're going. And so if you don't understand that, you just learn to accept everything, you don't go anywhere, you don't get anywhere, and ultimately it will lead to misery. If you only take action, you become controlling because you're trying to control everything through the actions that you're taking. And worse, well, maybe worse, maybe not, you don't take the right actions or get results because you don't have the awareness, you don't have the acceptance, you're just acting willy-nilly, there's no strategy behind it. And if you become one of those people that only focuses on action, you deny your inner life. Everything's externalized. You're becoming a human doing, not a human being. And so this process, awareness, acceptance, action, is about taking your being, who it is that you are, accepting that, and then doing something with it. You need being and doing, not just one or the other, basically. So the short version, skip the slide there. The short version is that we're going to work on uncovering the truth, putting it into action, repeat. This course is going to help you do that. Uncover the truth about yourself, the world, and reality, and then put it in a framework that's going to allow you to feel more purposeful, feel more that your life is more meaningful, and start getting the results that you actually want from life because you're not holding yourself back. That is the end of the introduction. Hopefully it's given you an overview, everything that you can expect. It's made it clear that it's about action. I've told you that it's going to be a commitment. But if you are ready to move forward with this course and to start seeing results in your life and to start, moving forward in the way you want to and closing that gap, then you can go to this website, which is ollieanderson.co.uk/personality transplant, or probably somewhere around wherever you're watching this particular intro video, there's going to be a link where you can sign up. Like I've said, it's 7 days, 7 modules. There are a whole load of exercises for you to do to make sure that you integrate your learning. It's a donation-based course, so you can get started right away no matter what your situation. And hopefully, I say hopefully, but I'm pretty confident, it's going to increase your awareness of yourself. It's going to allow you to accept yourself, and you're going to be taking actions that change your life and get you where you want to be. So if you have any questions about anything, send me an email, ollie@truthbomb.co.uk. Otherwise, go get started on the first module, which is about death. I look forward to seeing you there, and thank you so much for watching this video, which I hope taught you something as well and gave you some value. Peace.